Welcome back, everyone, to Morning Edition. I'm Andy Satowski. That's Queen City News anchor Julian Sador, Jason Harper here. We have had a very busy week. Obviously, over the weekend, we had the U.S., our own country, striking Iran's nuclear facilities. And so it's been a busy week. And we want on the Morning Edition here to kind of give you guys an idea of what we do here every day as journalists. And it's been a hard week to comb through exactly what was happening. We're dealing with time zones, new information coming literally by the minute. So we just wanted to talk about what exactly happened this week and talk about how we get our information as well as the guests that we bring on. So guys, it was a whirlwind, but I think that the important thing is that we have been having the ability to bring on experts. And that's what we love about our show, pulling from the people that we know here in the community and beyond, and just having them kind of give us more insight and answering hopefully some of the questions that people at home have as we kind of deal with this complicated conflict that's happening overseas.
No, Andy, I think that's spot on. And one of the things that kind of prompted, should we even talk about this? Because we had the briefing today by Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, where he took issue with the Corps that covers all of these issues and talking about the fact that a lot of them ran with this preliminary report that talked about the fact that there maybe wasn't as much damage as the president had initially said there was with these 3 strikes on the Iranian nuclear facilities. And we were kind of talking here in local news, we don't slant anything. I know people, when they hear the word media, the news, they lump us all together. We don't slant anything at local news. We bring on experts, Andy, as you said, to kind of give context to these things. And I think we have used retired Marine Colonel Mark Cancian 3 times this week, but it's because he knows exactly what he's talking about. And with the preliminary report, we wrestle every day. What do we cover? What do we not cover? When something like that comes out, we have a duty because it's in the news to cover it. And we want to cover it responsibly. So we're going to go to an expert. We're not going to give our 2 cents on it, but we want to give people at home, the viewers, an idea of, hey, what's going on? Let's go ahead and take this information from somebody trusted who knows what they're talking about. I mean, Colonel Cancian has spent over 20 years in these type of operations, dealing with this type of information. So what he's giving insight on isn't slanted one way or another. In fact, he's usually right down the middle. But there's no slant that we try to put on anything from the administration, especially not when we're talking about conflicts in the Middle East.
Yeah, and we try every day. We are human, so let me start with that, right? We're not always perfect. Sometimes we come in and we have certain biases that maybe we bring into the newsroom that we try to leave in the parking lot. There may be something that set someone off. It may be a producer that's helping us put something together that we didn't specifically, that maybe we didn't write firsthand. And so there's a collaborative effort, and we all come in. We're a team, and we all come in, and we may have voted for someone different than the person that's currently in office, and we have to leave all that stuff behind us. And so we try every day to be very careful to not give opinion and to not say, well, this is what I think the president should have done, or this is what I think this military action. Like you said, that's what we leave the experts to. And so, we do. Listen, we get emails. We get complaints and phone calls from viewers that go, oh, well, you made it sound like you're bashing Trump, or you made it sound like you were giving Biden a hard time. And we try to be fair and equal to every person that we're talking to. Every time we get a story, we try to go a little deeper. What information can we get from the national, the international media? How does it affect those in the Carolinas? We try to make it personal to you that we're watching. And then we try to take it even one step further. Okay, how is this going to affect you as you walk out the door on this Thursday or this Friday? Why should you care? Right? Because you can just pick up your phone and get the same information. And so those are the steps we try to take all the time. And it is different from watching maybe national media, which we heard Pete Hegseth talking about earlier.
Well, yeah. And of course, we have, affiliates, right? We get our information from national sources like the Associated Press. They have that information. We relay that information. But as Jason said, to kind of go deeper and to more importantly, talk about how that does affect us here in the Carolinas. We had Representative Mark Harris on, who was a fantastic guest and, talking very candidly just about the operation itself. But we did ask him, hey, what do you want your constituents to know? They might have questions for you, or, these are questions that I'm driving and kind of thinking of, okay, well, why is this important? Everyone has those same questions. So it's really cool on cool. I love my job. I love what I get to do. I get to think of what I'm thinking of and ask someone that. And to have them answer that is pretty cool. And he had some great answers for us. So just a little bit behind the scenes of what we're working on. And we're always thinking about, okay, who knows this better than anyone that we have in our Rolodex to kind of like, that's a throwback term, but who do we know who's way smarter than us, who can help bring context to this in a good way?
I often think of, and Jason, I know you're a fan of the show, The Newsroom, right? And when they think about, are we bringing on somebody who can just talk about the topic, or are we bringing on the best guest possible to give the most intelligent answers that actually knows what they're talking about and can give a good analysis, give good insight, right? And with Representative Harris, one of the questions that we had was, what do you tell the people at home that are scared that their boys and girls who serve in the military are going to end up in the Middle East? What do you say to the parents of people over the Middle East? We pulled out a lot of our forces. We're not completely out of the Middle East. And he said pretty definitively that there are no plans right now to send more troops over there in a mass scale like we did. We saw Desert Storm, the Gulf War, and all that. There's no plans right now to send it over. So that's a big question that we had, right? Because that's the question that you, the viewers, had.
Yep.
As far as what we saw with Iran, I think the question that Jason and I had during the Pete Hegseth thing while Andy was out for the 8 a.m. hour, one, why is there a leak? Why is the intelligence community leaking things to the press without talking with other people? And Canstein even brought up that under Obama administration, one of the reporters was actually charged for taking one of those classified reports. The second question is, look, people can say what they want. Either it was completely obliterated, not obliterated enough, somewhere in the middle, but what is the totality of the damage that we've done to Iran? And is there going to be a nuclear program moving forward? I think that's the only thing that we here in local media are worried about, is what you guys are worried about is Iran going to be a threat?
Yeah.
Why do we have people leaking classified information? And are my boys and girls going to be safe?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, and one of the things that my wife, who's not in journalism at all, but she's an effective communicator, is sometimes you just have to keep asking questions until you can't ask anymore, or keep digging until you hit the bottom and you can't dig anymore. And so I think that's one of the questions that may have seemed to frustrate the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth when we heard him speak, was why is everyone asking about this or about that, or people keep asking about the classified documents, and that's our job. It's not because someone voted us. It's not because you're part of a Republican Party. Had he been a Democrat, had it been a completely different administration, that's still what we do as journalists. We're going to keep asking. You can give us a 30-minute press conference, but if you never give us the answer that we're looking for, we're going to keep asking, and we're going to do it tomorrow. It doesn't mean we're trying to slam you or your party affiliation, but we're going to keep asking until we get the answer. And so it's not about politics or party. It's we're trying to get what we're there for.
I mean, I think we made the point, too, that is when people were questioning whether or not the president was right in his authority to use Article 2 to pull off the strike. You can argue back and forth whether or not you agree with his decision to strike Iran, but using Article 2 to carry out a military strike is something that has been done for years by both administrations. You can go Democrat, Republican, back and forth. I think it was Khalif, our chief legal analyst, that said the last time that Congress authorized war was World War II.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you think about Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, all through Article 2.
Yep.
That's not a Democrat or Republican thing.
Yeah. So just some things that can kind of, especially with social media, of just what you heard of this person saying and that person saying. That's why I love having our experts on, again, who are way smarter than all three of us combined, guys.
Combined, for sure.
Yes. They're way smarter. So yeah, just a little bit of insight into what we kind of do here, especially for important topics like what's going on this week.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that was heavy, but needed to be talked about. Bit of work on that. And speaking of experts, we're going to have something that one of our experts brought to us this week on Queen City News now that we're going to talk about because it's something really interesting. And we're going to bring in that guy, meteorologist Andrew Brightman, who you cannot see here. But Andrew, just kind of wave your hand right there.
Stick a hand in there somewhere. There it is. There it is. There it is.
We'll have more from the four of us and something that our chief business correspondent brought up after the break.
Welcome back, everyone. Nice to have you with us on Morning Editions. We have got meteorologist Andrew Brightman joining us on this conversation. What's up, Andrew?
It's an honor. Nay, the pleasure.
And a
Nay,
privilege.
nay, the pleasure.
To be back here on Morning Edition. Always great being with you guys.
We talk about everything, right? On the show, we talk about everything during commercial break, especially. But there's been some insightful conversations that have been brought to us recently by our chief business correspondent, Taylor Young, finding incredible stuff, whether it's side hustles or real estate or anything else. But recently, she talked about buy now, pay later, right? A way you can take a small loan out. There's a lot of apps that are available that you can download so that you don't have to pay full price, different from using a credit card. Here's what she had to say this week, and then we'll kind of we'll put our 2 cents in, right, on what we think about it. Take a listen.
But I think, unfortunately, the reality is a growing number of Americans are using buy now, pay later for things like groceries. It's estimated 25% of people who use these services are using it for groceries. And what that tells me is that these people are already kind of financially struggling. They're using these services as kind of a last resort. And LendingTree found that around 41% of people who have used buy now, pay later in the last year have missed at least one payment.
Wow. So that's some sobering statistics. Now, this is different from like when I was growing up. There's a thing called layaway.
Yeah.
Right? Where if you didn't have the money to buy it right away and you didn't want to use a credit card, you could lay away the product, the sleeping bag, the tent, whatever you wanted. You set it back. They'll hang on to it. You can pay off the payments. And then when you make the full payment, you get to take it. But these apps are letting you take whatever you want now, pay it off over a little bit of time with a little bit of interest. What do you guys think about that?
They're growing in popularity, right? You see that literally if you shop online. That's primarily how I do my shopping. Let's be real. There's always Klarna or PayPal has options, and there's a bunch of other ones. Afterpay.
Klarna Afterpay.
Yeah, I personally don't use them. I am fine with just like my credit cards. If I don't have the money, I don't buy it. You know what I mean? Like I would rather put it on my credit card and get any of the rewards that I have on it. But to Taylor's report, she's been talking about these buy now, pay later programs. And again, those statistics of just people aren't using them to like, oh, I want these concert tickets or I'm going to put this really expensive like handbag on it. It's just for stuff like groceries, which is a whole other story. But the latest update was like now that it's being used so much that it's going to start impacting your credit report where it didn't before. So now people who, like she mentioned, are already people who are kind of struggling to get by. If it is not used responsibly, if you miss that payment like many people do, now it's going to impact your credit score even more. There were some positives to it too. You know, that's building your credit if you're still working on that. But I feel like that positive is not going to be the main case for everyone.
No, I was going to jump in next because for me, I've used buy now, pay later a lot. And I have, because you guys talk about wanting to get a credit card points and just put it in a credit card. I see, I've got a Galaxy Brain thing. What I do with buy now, pay later. I do buy now, pay later.
So you said Galaxy Brain?
Yeah, you'll see. Like, so basically, I do the Afterpay or Klarna where you pay the 0 interest, the 4 payments. And what I have it paying on is my credit card. So basically the 4 payments go to my credit card. And then I always pay off my balance every month. So it's like buy now, pay way later. But that's what I've done. I've never, ever missed a payment. And for me,
so why don't you just put it on your credit card to start with?
Because
there's no interest.
There's no interest. And also I can break it up over multiple credit cards.
Okay.
So for me, and as long
Interesting.
and I do that, and again, I never carry a balance on my credit cards. But I like
you're the exception.
You're a one-off. You're a one-off.
You are incredibly as people who know you.
Don't say it. Don't say
it. No, you're not special.
Okay,
you are just very diligent and fiscally responsible.
I thought you were going to call him smart.
Don't use the S word. No,
I'm not going to use it.
No, my wife would combust if you called me that.
But I think I think Andrew, you are the anomaly. You're the exception to the rule. There are a lot of people. The concerning part that Taylor brought up. Yes, there are people who are using it for shopping bags, for sneakers, for things like that, for clothes. But the fact that Americans are so spread thin that they need to split their grocery payment over 4 months, or what is it? You can do like I think it's like every other week, right? 4 weeks.
Your Chipotle order.
Right.
I mean,
it just snowballs though, because it's like spending, the analogy when all the boomers are like, don't buy coffee, you'll be able to buy a house. False, by the way. But it all snowballs. Okay, I'm going to use buy now, pay later just for this order of groceries. I'm going to use it for my Chipotle order. I'm going to use it for this little thing. But all of that turns into a snowball and just it can get out of hand. And I think that's why some people are concerned about this impacting their credit.
Well, how many of these people though also have a credit card? right?
Right.
Like these people here, I can't imagine your first go is like, I'm going to go to Affirm Afterpay, right?
Mm-hmm.
You probably had a credit card. You probably maxed it out. You're making the minimum monthly payment on that. So you're probably behind there. It's going to take you a decade probably to pay off.
Mm-hmm.
And then instead of taking those payments and the extra money you have, you're putting it down to a monthly or a weekly payment on Affirm for zero interest. It's hard to say stop buying things you can't afford, because if we're talking about groceries,
Right.
we're talking about basic things to live. And then to Taylor's point, if this is now part of your credit score, these people are probably going to get knocked down even further.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can't even use the buy now, pay later stuff.
Then what do you do?
What's next?
What is the fees or like interest on missing a payment? Because
No idea.
I'm not sure.
Because for credit cards, like as I'm sure you guys know, it's just like you
massive.
never carry a balance at literally any cost, because the interest is
It's ridiculous.
even people
20,
like
28, 30. I mean, it's.
I have a great credit score, and my interest, if I carry a balance, is still like 27%.
I feel like that's
It's insane.
normal. Yeah.
It's just insane. Like never ever carry a balance at like at basically any cost.
I think this is smart, though, them adding that credit. You will now be reported to the credit bureaus, because if you are on the other side, if you're in the financial world, or if you're at an apartment complex and you're looking at taking on, someone to live there, like I want to be able to, on the credit report, I need to see all the skeletons in the closet.
Yeah.
And if this is an area where you are exhibiting poor borrowing behavior, I need to know about it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to find out 3 months after late payments going, what's going on? Your credit report came back clean. So and it's important. And it's unfortunate, as you heard Taylor say, 41% of the people using these buy now, pay later apps are having late payments. And that's unfortunate. And it penalizes those that are already struggling in the financial world that aren't the most disciplined.
It's so much higher than I thought. 41%. I would have thought it was like 10 or 15. Like 41 is an insanely high number to me.
I think it goes into a deeper conversation that we don't have time for, but just about financial literacy and understanding the interest. And when you market something as hey, you don't have to, you can pay like $5 for this $100 thing right now. I don't know, again, how these things work, but you pay so little. It's kind of like taking on student loans without understanding the full weight of the
that's
interest.
a whole nother.
And that's a whole other thing that we don't have time for, but like write that one down. But it's just not understanding how it works. If you understand it and are committed to being diligent with it, they're great tools. Yeah. But you just have to have the understanding.
So I was going to say three thoughts, I guess, on it. Is that with the buy now, pay later, right? There's a reason why, because you brought up student loans. There's a reason why it's really hard to get a credit card when you're 18 years old, right? At least one we have no credit, right? So maybe there needs to be something where there is an age cap or age minimum on these buy now, pay laters, because the 18-year-old may not understand the financial responsibilities they're getting into buying something with a buy now, pay later, especially if we're talking about $500, $600 there. Are you ready to make those payments back? The second thought is, groceries aside, if you're looking at shoes and things like that, if you can afford it with 4 minimum monthly payments, guess what? Wait 4 months.
You can save it.
Yeah. Put those four things away, and then that's America right now. Everybody
problem.
But to the point about what you can occur if you don't make your payments, they can charge you a late fee. They can start charging interest on the unpaid balance, and they can turn over your account to a collection agency. So you talk about impacting your credit score. If you don't make these payments, they'll collect on that will impact your credit score. And from what I'm reading here, these late fees can start literally the day after you miss a payment.
Wow.
Once you get a red flag on your credit report, that's like a bad rap sheet.
Right.
That's hard to separate
you.
yourself for the rest of your life. So it's so important.
And it's so interesting, Julian, you're talking about having an age limit, because I was just thinking back to myself personally. Like, I didn't get a credit card for the first time until I was 27, but I definitely used buy now, pay later all throughout kind of my early to mid 20s. And I think for many people out there, it's a very similar thing where maybe people aren't thinking about a credit card, but they're like me when I was like, Julian, I want it now. And I was like, there's this little option where I do the drop down and I can pay it, 4 times over the course of 8 weeks. I'll just do that. But many people, sometimes they can't make the payment, especially if it's going straight to their debit card.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of buy now, pay later, we're going to take a break now. We'll be back later after the break with more Morning Edition. We'll see you in a second. Welcome back into Morning Edition. This week actually happens to be a kind of special week because Annie and myself, we turn, what is it, Andy? You're turning 29?
Yes.
Turn 28?
For like the time.
Yeah.
Fake news. Fake news.
We both have birthdays this
Yes.
week, and it's pretty cool that we get to celebrate it with our friends here at the station. I think they put together a little clip of us. So let's see if I can pull up our little a little clip here.
Whoa.
What is that?
It was like a filter on Snapchat, I think it was. TikTok?
Oh,
Yeah.
God, I thought it was a guest you guys had in the.
No.
To reference to
that
my
was
last time
amazing.
here, those dance moves are chopped.
Or
Julie.
top.
And-
Or top. Okay. I would love to see you, Mr. Brightman, on the dance floor.
no one's.
But I guess that's the cool backstory is that before I got to join everybody Monday through Friday, and before Annie and I did, we got to come here. I got to come as Annie's
That's
co-anchor.
me.
That was actually Annie when
what
she
you
got
like.
promoted
That is.
because I was mad at Annie. Not mad. I was giving her a little bit of crap because once we started anchoring the weekends together, Annie quickly got promoted to the noon and 4. That's Annie's husband, Craig. And yeah, we, I guess, had gone
left.
different paths at the station. And now we're all back on Queen City News now.
Yeah.
And it's
The
Yeah.
change
Freaking awesome.
studio over the years.
It was so
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I really have
Yeah,
such
5 years has changed a lot.
I don't know how to explain how cold it was in that time. Like we had 2 space heaters, we had an electric blanket, but I digress. No, it's a lot of people are like, what are you doing for your birthday?
Yeah.
And I don't mind coming to work because I have so much fun with you guys. We are a family.
Yeah.
We say that, but we actually mean it. It's not just something that we say on television for funsies. But also as a kid, I always had my birthday in the summertime and we're out for school. So I didn't get to have my locker decorated. We didn't do bringing in treats for the class. So I don't really mind because we had a potluck here at work today.
And we know how to throw a potluck.
We sure
Jason made some egg bites.
Eggy bites.
Oh, they were
Eggy.
delicious.
Eggy bites.
Eggy bites.
Oh, they were so good.
Annie, did you have birthday parties growing up?
So many birthday parties.
Did you-
You have a favorite that you remember?
Yes, I think there was a mini golf one that I really enjoyed. It was always like my girlfriends from gymnastics and, we'd go do something and always have a sleepover. But one time we went to the Reno Rodeo.
The
which is
Reno Rodeo.
Wildest, richest rodeo in the West.
Wow.
And that's always around my birthday. So we rode all the rides, and then we went to the show afterwards. Super fun. It's like it's our version of the state fair,
Okay.
I would say. Like what we had in Iowa, which is a whole other thing. But yeah, that was one of my favorite birthdays, I think. And it's just fun to keep celebrating. The parties are smaller, but it's a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
Julian has a birthday
Awesome.
tomorrow.
Yours
I
is
do.
Friday.
Dude, my birthday is
Happy
tomorrow.
birthday, bro.
Thank
Happy
you,
birthday,
thank
pal.
you, guys.
How about you? You got birthday memories that stand out to you? Birthday parties are themed like when you were a kid?
Two birthdays stick out to me. One, I think it was. Oh, I should know this. It would have been my 5th birthday party, 5th or 6th birthday party. Because my little sister, who was born on June 20th, so 7 days before me, my mom was still in the hospital, and I was like, "Great birthday gift to me, little sister, stealing my mom."
Thanks.
Great. All right. Already going to be adversarial there, taking mom away from my birthday party. But it was my first birthday here. My friends threw me a surprise birthday party, and I got a little emotional because they got in touch with my dad. And Ted and Sam actually took me to John G's, and were like, all right, we're going to go to John G's. And went to John G's, came back, and my dad and a bunch of people were inside the apartment. My then girlfriend, now wife, helped throw that. So that was pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, I was there.
Way to go.
You were.
God.
Real quick, Andy brought it up. I think we got like a minute left, less than that. How old is too old to have a birthday party?
Never.
Never.
Never?
I'm still
Say
breathing.
never.
Never?
Yeah.
Never. I would
Always
say
celebrate.
majors get less, or like you only do the big birthday parties for the big ones, like 30
Yeah.
and 40 and 50.
I got my big ones next year, y'all.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Were you turning 40?
The big 50, Andy.
Oh, boy.
Is a big one.
We got
So
off.
we got a long time to prepare.
Jason,
Always.
before we run out of time, I'm going to put it on here so you have to do it. Jason has said for his big birthday that he wants to rent out a place and he's going to sing for us like a crooner because he can sing. Jason Harper can sing. So I'm putting it out here.
I want to
It's
get a little
all-
big band.
Songbird of our generation.
Yes. You got to do it, brother. You got to do it.
It'll be fun. Listen, back on you guys. Happy birthday. I know we're running out of time.
birthday.
On both of you guys, have the best weekend. We love you guys so much. We do.
Enjoy your day off.
Guys.
Thank you.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.